Teachers, who's the worst parent you've ever dealt with? Nothing in grad school had prepared me for Ryan, and especially not for his dad. Ryan was 4 and held onto his iPad like it was his fifth limb. All day long, the iPad would blast YouTube videos on full volume, and not kid videos. I'm talking loud, chaotic movie clips and horror videos with gore that made my skin crawl. Other kids would flinch or cry, and on my first day, I had to pause circle time twice because people were crying about what they'd just seen on his screen. When I tried to take the iPad from Ryan, he shrieked like a pterodactyl and tried to bite me. Other than that, he was practically lifeless. He stared at his screen all day like he was hypnotized, mouth open, absorbing the violence like oxygen. That afternoon, I waited for his parents at pickup. His dad walked up with a tailored suit and sunglasses inside. I said, "Can we talk about the iPad?" He smiled like I'd complimented his car and said, "It helps him focus." He doesn't respond to me when it's on, I said carefully, and the content's upsetting the other kids. He sighed like I was being completely unreasonable, and when he spoke, he slowed his voice down like he was talking to a young child. Look, he's got a lot going on. That thing keeps him calm. I said, "It's hurting his ability to participate. I think we need to limit screen time during class." That's when he leaned in and said, "What are you, 22 years old? You think your community college degree means anything to me? Try spending more than 5 minutes in the real world before you tell me how to raise my kid." I was stunned silent, not so much because of what he said, but because he clearly thought it would be enough to shut me down. It wasn't. That night, I submitted an incident report and copied my supervisor. I told another teacher that I'd done it, and her eyes went wide, and she said, "You did what?" That's when I found out that Ryan's dad was a massive donor to the school. I walked in the next morning fully expecting to get fired on the spot, but instead my supervisor met me in the hallway and said, "No one else has been willing to stick up to that man. Keep going." So I did. I didn't rip the iPad out of Ryan's hands. I just started taking note of what made him look up from it. He liked story time with lots of sound effects and juice boxes with bendy straws. I could get him in the sandbox if I told him to look for dinosaur bones in there. I started pairing screen-free moments with things he liked. We'll put the iPad in your cubby while we make volcanoes. Then you can tell your iPad about it later. There were a lot of tears those first weeks, but slowly it felt like I was making progress. He'd ask for more glue instead of his iPad during craft time. He laughed at a joke another kid made, and one day he tugged at my arm and asked if he could paint some more, his iPad dangling by his side. Ignored. We made a sticker chart where he earned a star for every 10 minutes off the iPad. The first week he got 1 star a day, then 3, and then the next week 7. One day he forgot to ask for the iPad until lunchtime, and when I handed it to him, he looked confused. By the end of the month, he wasn't the iPad kid anymore. He was Ryan, the one who loved dinosaurs and insisted our class turtle needed a hat. He had friends now. The other kids loved him, and every morning when he came in, he gave me the biggest hug. I had a new, extremely unexpected favorite kid. When parent-teacher conferences rolled around, I was nervous to see Ryan's dad again. We'd barely even glanced at each other at pickup since the incident. But now before I could even speak, he said, "I'm sorry for the things I said, and for how I've handled everything." He took a deep breath and said, "My wife died last spring. It was sudden, and I couldn't function, let alone explain death to a 4-year-old. So I let the iPad do the talking, and then I let it keep going. It was easier than watching him cry or listening to him ask me for the 100th time where his mom was." He swallowed. "But now these past 3 weeks, it's like I have my kid back again. For a while there, I thought I'd lost them both for good. I can't thank you enough for that." I tried to catch my breath. "It was all him," I said. "You've got a great kid there." That Monday, Ryan ran into class holding a rock he'd found on the way. "It looks like a stegosaurus foot," he told me. We put it in his cubby together, where the iPad used to go.